Drought after citation, 25 years. A quarter of a century with no Triple Crown winner. Some people were saying there will never be another Triple Crown champion. Never. And then along came this horse. Along came Secretariat, enjoying the favorite time of a stallion's day right now. One of the favorite times, certainly, his afternoon bath. But his favorite time of day when he was running was when they called him to the post. Secretariat was more than a racehorse, more than a Triple Crown champion. He was a national idol.
Secretariat on the outside to take the lead. Sham holding in second. It's Secretariat moving away. He has it by 2.5. Sham then on the outside, our native. At the wire, it's going to be Secretariat. He wins it by 6. There's a strong left-handed whip again by Pintide. He goes to it time and time again. But Ronnie Turcotte has his whip put away. And Secretariat has him put away. He's beginning to draw away. It is Secretariat. He's coming to the wire. He wins it. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today, as My Gallant and Vice Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 16th of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that seems impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths.
Of all the memories of Secretariat on the racetrack, this is the most lasting. Ron Turcotte, looking back, wondering where the rest of the horses were in the Belmont, winning by 31 lengths. Turcotte was a Canadian, a former lumberjack, later paralyzed in a racing accident. Owner Penny Chenery, then Mrs. Tweedy, became almost as famous as her horse, and rightly so. She had fought to save her father's stable when others wanted to sell. Even the groom, Eddie Sweat, became a familiar name to racing fans. From the beginning, Secretariat was a big horse and a big eater with a big heart. He showed it in his first start on the 4th of July. On the right, he was squeezed at the start by a colt ironically named Quebec, the home province of Secretariat's trainer. He managed to keep his feet, but fell back and was bumped into the rail. Still, he managed to finish 4th, only a length and a half back. Secretariat had heart. The arrow points him out in the hopeful stakes at Saratoga. Watch as he begins to pass horses. Secretariat by now had won a maiden race, an allowance, and the Sanford Stakes, but this time he really showed his stuff. He was a son of Bold Ruler, who passed on great early speed to his progeny, and Something Royal, a daughter of Prince Quillo, a great endurance runner. The combination of genes produced a colt who could do everything. Owner Chenery had won the right to Secretariat in a complicated coin toss arrangement with Ogden Phipps. No one argued now that she should have sold her father's horses. In this race, Secretariat stamped himself as something special, winning easily by 5 lengths. His stablemate, Riva Ridge, had won the Kentucky Derby in this year of 1972. Now Secretariat went on to win the Futurity in time faster than Riva Ridge had run in winning the same race the year before. He finished first in the Champagne, but was disqualified for ducking into another horse when hit with the whip. He never ducked before, said the rider. He never had to be hit before, the trainer said. He was named Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old. On Derby Day, 1973, the biggest crowd ever to that time, 135,000, jammed Churchill Downs. They had come to see the big red chestnut with 3 white feet prove that a Bold Ruler colt could go 1.25 miles. The field of 13 went to the post. As expected, Secretariat came out of post position 10 slowly and settled into last place as they passed the stands for the first time. He had been syndicated for $6 million in a deal put together before he ever ran a race as a 3-year-old. The deal stipulated that he would race only for this season. His insurance for that year cost $500,000. So this was valuable property trailing the field. After winning the Bayshore and the Gotham in New York, he had been upset in the Wood Memorial, finishing 3rd behind Angle Light and Sham. Just the same, he was made a solid favorite in the Derby, and the bettors knew what they were doing on this day. Secretariat picked up horses all the way down the backstretch, then made a big move on the turn. At the quarter pole, Sham took the lead from the speedball Shecky Green. It became a 2-horse race. Secretariat and Sham battling down the stretch. Sham's rider was Lafitte Pinkai, known as the strongest jockey in the game in a stretch drive. But in the end, it was Secretariat, smoothly switching into overdrive, winning the Derby in a record time that would last for many years. The second straight Derby win for owner Chenery, trainer Lauren, and jockey Turcotte. Now on to Pimlico.
And they're up for the early lead. That's Deadly Dream on the outside, Ecole Taj. Then it's also Torsion on the outside. They're coming by us. It's Ecole Taj getting it, and he's still moving away by about 2.5 as they pass the stands. Settling into second, Torsion. Sham has good position, third on the rail. It's another 3 lengths back, Deadly Dream. Then our native and Secretariat is last again as they move into the first turn. They're into the turn. Ecole Taj has it by 2 lengths. Torsion second by a length, and then Sham third. Sham under an easy hold right now. But here comes Secretariat. He's moving fast, and he's going to the outside. He's going for the lead, and it's right now he's looking for it. Ronnie Turcotte sends him alongside Ecole Taj.
From there on, it was a duplicate of the Derby, except that this time, Secretariat was in charge all the way. Sham, second in the Derby, would be second again, and our native once more was third, and the margins were exactly the same. 2.5 lengths to Sham, another 8 to our native. Again, the Daily Racing Form clocker had it as a track record, but the official clock, which may have malfunctioned, said otherwise, and that was that. It was a great day for Meadows Stable, even though the owner was burned by a cigarette, her husband's pocket was picked, and her car was hit in the parking lot. How could that matter when you own Secretariat? Belmont Day was hot and humid. There were 5 horses, but everyone was watching just 2, Secretariat and Sham. Jockey Turcotte had noticed in the warm-up that Sham didn't look as sharp as usual, so he decided to test him early. Sham stayed with him for a while, but by the halfway mark, Secretariat was drawing away. At the half-mile pole, he led by 7. Sham faded and eventually finished last. It may have been the greatest performance ever anywhere.
Going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance.
31 lengths in world record time. Penny Chenery thought of her father, who had died a few months before, and savored the great victory. But even Secretariat was made of flesh and blood. Saratoga, that beautiful spa in upstate New York, is known as the House of Upsets, and one was waiting for Secretariat in the Whitney Stakes. Trainer Alan Jerkins, who specializes in surprises, had a 4-year-old gelding named Onion, who had never won a stakes race, primed for the effort of his life. Secretariat couldn't peel this onion and lost by a length. In mid-September, the bugle sounded for the first Marlboro Cup, a race created for Secretariat. He was the only 3-year-old in the race, and the chief opposition was his stablemate, Riva Ridge. If Secretariat won, he would pass the $1 million mark in earnings. If the stablemates finished first and second, it would be the pinnacle of trainer Lauren's career. It turned into a match race between the two, but there was no doubt of the outcome. It was Secretariat all the way in another world record time of 1:45 2/5. The champion ran 2 more races in New York, losing the Woodward to Prove Out, another Alan Jerkins horse, winning his first stakes race like Onion, then winning the Man of War, his only race on grass. On a cold, rainy, windy October day at the Woodbine track, Secretariat made his only appearance in Canada, his trainer and jockey's native land. Unfortunately, the rider was serving a suspension and couldn't participate. Eddie Maple rode him that day.
The crowd is standing, and they're cheering because this is his last race. He's in the stretch, and the blaze is sorry. Secretariat, ladies and gentlemen, he's all yours, and he's coming to the wire. He's on top now by about 10 or 12 lengths. Secretariat has it.
So Secretariat won the Canadian International Championship and was retired. Appropriately for the horse who could run on anything, the course for that race was part grass and part dirt. 9 days later, he made a farewell ceremonial appearance at Aqueduct, then was sent to Claiborne Farm for stud duty. He was champion 3-year-old, champion grass horse, and horse of the year. No horse has ever been as closely identified with its owner as Secretariat was. Penny Chenery had fought for her father's stable, and when Secretariat came along, she won the hearts of the people just as her horse did. She was the embodiment of what the gracious lady horse owner should be. For some years, Secretariat was a good sire, but not great. But then came 1986 Horse of the Year, Lady's Secret, and in 1988, his son, Risen Star, who won the Preakness and the Belmont. Secretariat now had done it all.